I think I saw.
There's a church service here on Sunday.
You do? It says welcome to Fresh Wind Ministries on the door, and it's like, it stays there. Fresh wind, fresh tires. Oh, my kids. I was like, I know them people. I don't be replacing that. I need to change my profile picture. They was so little. Hard something by your foot.
Oh.
You can turn my notifications off.
Yeah.
They'll go off. Hey.
What's up, Donovan?
I'm doing good, sir. How about yourself?
How you guys doing, man?
How you? Moving and grooving.
Running around.
Busy day today.
Man, I tell you what, I took some potential clients to lunch. and they pick Malone's.
Okay. well,
Everybody picks the most expensive plate
For sure.
and ordered 4 appetizers, steaks. I'm like, damn, what was that at lunch? Like a $200 bill. Like, "We ain't taking the family.
They take advantage.
They took full advantage. Oh, man, that's hilarious.
You guys think you're gonna get a big crowd here?
Well, I need to check my registration. This has been a busy day with the contractors. They had several
Mhm.
meetings today, and I just actually left with one. They had, and I didn't realize it was for contractors with Charles Booker.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
I don't think I realized that was for contractors either.
It was, it said business and politics, but most of the people there were in construction.
Where was that?
Because they said black men and black in business.
Yes.
I like Charles.
It's Joshua Barber downtown.
Yeah, I met him at 1020 Brewery. They had a little event over there. He was a great guy.
Yeah, we go way back.
Yeah.
He supported my little neighborhood activity before
Oh,
I
that's
came out
great,
of
man.
charge with us. And he's been at it for a while. So that's why I definitely support him.
Yeah, I'm a fan, that's for sure. This is just like a good down to earth kind of guy. You know, he doesn't seem fake like most of the rest of them. Yvonne in town or she out?
No, she's in town.
Is she?
Yes, she's running crazy busy too, but she's in town as well.
I'm working with some people she referred to me. You might know who they are. You know the Bowies, Kevin and Troy, Karen and Troy Bowie.
I had them done. We got a property over here in Walkaway. They're trying to. Research. Right. If I was doing some other stuff for them too. I got this thing put together, put it on there. I always ask it. Good credit, it's fine, but they kept asking if we pull credit. We don't pull credit till underwriting gets it. I thought I had this, man. So I think I got somebody I'm gonna be able to help them out in. If they work with, Yvonne never referred to them.
Okay.
So I'm hoping my guy I'm working with can get it done for them. I got my treasury management lady supposed to stop in. Is it okay if she just kind of gives a sense of? That's what she does. She works primarily with the businesses on the, processing, payments.
Okay.
She does all the nitty gritty stuff. I just do the loans.
This is so neat. I like this. It automatically moves with the
I noticed that.
movement.
I'm
Yeah.
like, "Man, that's my phone." So where are you hitting the weights at here?
No, I typically, sometimes I come here, but guys close a little early than my day ends. So I go out to Planet Fitness out Dixie Highway.
Oh, you go that one?
That's the closest one.
I used to go there. I joined the new JCC over off Breckenridge.
Okay.
Have
Oh
you
yeah.
seen it?
Yes.
So here's what
Awesome.
made me try. I drive by all the time and it says Trigger, like that's our CEO. I'm like, sure, I get a deal. So I go in, of course, we get a huge deal. And it's unbelievable.
Yeah, imagine the one that you avail
Mhm.
right off of 4th Street.
So I pulled it up to see. He gave him like 20. Just gave it to him. I'm like, well, that's how you get your name on a bill.
Right.
It's pretty cool though, yeah. It's kind of a drive for me, but.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Donovan Taylor.
Hi, I'm Jen Small.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, did you get my email today?
I did.
Okay,
I
cool.
got the
So
reading.
you'll present them?
Yes.
Okay, I brought my computer just in case. Should I come up there or come back? here?
Anywhere you want, it's how you feel, how you want to work it out.
Okay. My coworker's with me, Ben, actually. He was a
Awesome.
little under the weather, but then he,
Felt a little better.
yes, and he said he would come. Just like it's so much easier with you. Somebody else. Talk to.
Yes. Please. I'm doing good, sir. Thanks for coming out. We had an excellent, many of our contractors were busy in a meeting with Charles Booker today. He just wanted to talk, business and politics. And so he had gone a bunch of them downtown to speak about business and politics.
Okay.
You guys also drive down from Cincinnati?
Mhm.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that so much for you guys for making that sacrifice for us.
Maybe.
I would say from the last session we had with you guys, we got a lot of repeat hits off the video. People going back and checking the video more than any of our other sessions.
Really?
Yeah, I was so what was that about?
Huh. What was the video?
We just did the recorded session of last one was just a pre-qualification with Turner.
And then she kind of repeated everything that was in the video?
No, we just posted a video on our website and just got a lot of repeats of people's interest of reviewing. the
Oh,
video.
nice,
Yeah.
for this one.
Yeah.
Oh, good. We do Turner School Construction Management in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
Yes, we
Okay, yeah.
we're trying
So we're
hard.
kind of doing a similar slide, but I shortened it a little bit because of time.
We're trying so hard to get that here in Louisville.
Yeah,
Hope you
we
got
did
your-
one in Lexington.
Yeah.
They tried, Kristen did
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it was very good.
It was so crazy because it was like two of our clients who participated. They're like, "Why didn't you tell us?" So they was on the
Oh,
video.
really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
One of the graduates of the program, Alicia Richardson was her name. She just got awarded this major development with the city to do some affordable housing development.
That's awesome. What was her name?
Alicia Richardson.
Oh, I feel like I remember her. Mhm. That's awesome.
Yeah. I was kind of upset. She called me when she needs help. She never calls me with the good news. I had to learn that off the news. I'm like, oh, I just talked to you 5 minutes ago. You didn't tell me that.
Hey, Donovan, what day they should go in? Joanna's our treasurer.
Johanna Wheatley, nice to meet you. Yes, well, he was on the email.
That's right.
Yes.
Well,
I was
know
like,
you
hold
know
on, I know that name.
Keep
That's awesome.
supposed to go out today. We have most of our reps, people are probably gonna be online.
Okay.
Early today.
Oh, man, that would have been worth seeing. I love him. He is. Oh, you didn't get to see it?
I had to go for a brief moment, though. I had to do TV here, so.
Yeah, I'm all
I
about
was trying to,
that.
I didn't want to, I was gonna take a with me.
Yeah, I need him down here.
I was set up, but I'm-
Exactly. Mover and a shaker.
Oh, yeah, but yeah, we had some people from, I guess we was a shaker from DC, from the
Oh.
national, community, so.
Oh, awesome. What an experience
Yeah.
then. Everybody.
Do we happen to bring a charger over?
Or, you could after mine.
Perfect. That's perfect. As long as there's one in the room.
And then we'll start about 3:05 to get people log in online. And big deal. Big deal. Love that name, Ben Deal, same sort of celebrity.
That's not. Let me tell you. He married a girl named Lori Gamble. It's very.
Yeah, that was her maiden name.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
That was my mistake. Treasury, Vice President of Treasury. Okay. All right, team, we're gonna go ahead and get started here. First, let's introduce myself. Donovan Taylor, currently serving as the director of the Plan Room. As many of you guys know, the Plan Room is a business accelerator, working with our minority contractors, helping them scale up their businesses and land on some of these large contracts that are going on in the West End, as well as throughout the city and state. The Plan Room kind of started out of the exception of about 2 years ago when the mayor made the announcement that there was going to be $1 billion worth of construction projects in West Louisville. And at the time, I was a board member of OneWest, and I thought it sounded like a good idea. It sounded great, but I was like, well, it's not so great if not many people in the businesses within the West End are not participating on these construction projects. And so from there, through I have a legal background, not in construction, but I do have a business background in business law and civil rights law. But I took that from my schooling at FAMU of professional development. They thought that it would be critical bringing it to our contractors. Missy Vaughn, who currently serves as our CEO of the OneWest, has a great history and professional career in community development, and she has actually operated Plan Room before. So we came up with we need to have a Plan Room here in Louisville, and so that started to be the Plan Room. We've only been in operation about over 1.5 years, but we have got off the ground rolling and try to be as effective and impactful as we can, of trying to be as resourceful as we can with our contractors and help them out in whatever they may need to move their businesses forward. And we'd like to thank some of our clients that came out with us today, and hopefully we're going to work hard to build up your businesses as we grow. I also want to thank my administrative assistant, Ms. Ebony Davis. This is a great asset to me. For a while, I was doing this by myself, so it's great to have some assistance in this work. And I'm going to pass it all down to Eric Wright and Ms. Johanna. Look at that. Republic Bank, and we want to thank them for giving us this great space to host our sessions and to engage in the community. They have been a great partner with OneWest and the Plan Room, which we're so thankful for our connection.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Eric Wright. I'm a commercial lender with the Public Bank, also do business banking. Johanna Wheatley is our treasury management officer. And I have partnered up with Yvonne at OneWest, and main reason is we have some programs for minority business owners and contractors. We want to really help the community and help you all, help you grow your businesses. A lot of y'all, I'm sure all y'all have a banker or a bank that you work with, but you have a banker that you really work with, somebody that you can call any time of the day. It's on the weekends, whatever it might be. That's something that I try to offer. You know, I don't take voicemail. Call myself. Johanna works with me to kind of help your business grow. You need payment solutions. You need card processing, things like that, things that you need to really help that business accelerate and move in the right direction. Thanks for having us here. Thanks for all you all coming. She's got some information that she's going to hand out to you that You know, if you have any questions, I've got cards out there. She's got her number on there. We'd love to work with you and help you guys any way that we can.
Believe it or not, the easiest part is gonna be having the business. The hardest part is how you sustain it. And again, that's why Republic Bank as a local bank is here to help you with that. I have some flyers here. Take what you think you might need. I don't want to hand you paper if you don't really need it, but it's anything from checking accounts to a money manager business loan, something small, less than 25,000. Products and services such as ACH and credit card processing, because the important thing is, how are you going to get paid? How are you going to get money kept into the bank? So I'm here with some solutions. Feel free to take what you can. And again, thank you all for having us.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And with that, the plan room has connected with Turner Construction on trying to help them with their outreach as well as help our businesses grow and possibly connect on some of their projects. They have been a great partner. They first reached out to us about last year, and me and Missy Bond were traveled up to Cincinnati to meet with the great group up there and see how we could best engage on future projects. And kind of with Donovan, we definitely are working on outreach, and this is one of the engagements. Our first engagement that we had was a couple of weeks ago with the pre-qualification with Turner. I think it's essential. We have just had a banking needs. This session is going to be focused on accounting for contractors, accounting basics, and I think that's going to be essential for our contractors. It's something, one of the essential things we try to press at the plan room. I think some of our clients here is that making sure that we have sound financial records. We definitely encourage you guys, you know, when you go to get your tax returns and financial statements completed, they are done by a CPA. And oftentimes that is necessary because oftentimes most banks and financial institutions require your financial documents to be prepared by a CPA. And if you need any assistance on that, we have a great network of about 5 CPA accounting firms here locally in the community that's working with us. That if you need some accounting needs, you can come and get some assistance with us. Or you know, we have some funding that we're able to provide that service for full cost or a portion of that based on our funding and your business needs. So that's something that you are in need with your tax returns. And then most oftentimes, even to actually do business with certain agencies like Turner, you're going to have that. They oftentimes a pre-qualification process requires you to have at least 3 years of your tax returns completed in order to even be qualified to do business with them. And so that's something that is going to be very important that you guys have, and we would definitely encourage you guys to seek out to us. And you know, any other contractor in the community who are in need of accounting services, to reach out to the plan room right now. We're trying to exhaust it as much as possible. We have worked with a few of our contractors that refer them to some of our CPAs to not only get their tax returns done, also to get their financial statements done, for them to be viable for certain financial loans and assistance that come through the banks and some of the metro agencies as well. And so with that, I am going to pass it over to Turner Construction. We're so thankful to have both Jen Small and Jen Deal here to work with us. I think that name was so celebrity. And so they're going to do great session on accounting basis for contractors. I'm going to sit up here and the slideshow. I may interrupt with questions, but please, you know, write down your questions if you have any, and feel free to answer our questions. We want to make sure that this session is fully beneficial to you guys. So let me share my screen. And thank you guys who have participated and joined us online as well. All right, Ben and Jen.
All right. Hi, I'm Jen Small. I've been with Turner Construction for about 15 years. I've been doing project accounting for 11 of those. So I originally started in our corporate finance and then moved over to project about 11 years ago. Give you guys some insight into what you do for us. It helps us do our job and what we do to help you do your job. So
yeah, I like to say, well, if you can be on the same page with us, we get you paid faster. Right, you know, so my name's Ben Deal. I've been with Turner for 17 years, been in project accounting about 12. Same story as Jen. I started up in the corporate part and then moved over to the operations, finance, accounting. That's kind of where I've been. You guys want to do it quick?
Yeah, if everybody wants to like quickly tell us who they are, maybe that'll help.
What do you guys do?
Awesome.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can start.
Yeah.
Robert, recognize, we paint.
Okay.
Cool. You can go ahead.
Tell one grocery, I buy a big lunch, I need contractors to do it, and I want to do it.
Nice. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Tanisha Durant Simpson, I'm an accountant. So I was invited to buy my business.
Awesome.
Awesome, perfect.
Charlie, me.
Okay.
Charles Simpson. And my business is Charlie and myself.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Hopefully we can give you some insight and feel free to ask questions whenever.
We're not very formal.
Let me know when it goes next.
Yeah.
Okay. You can sit this one.
So a few of the objectives, I'm not gonna read everything. Importance of positive cash flow, understanding and managing cash flow, talking about change orders, avoiding claims. Claims are bad. Understanding how you're gonna bill us and how you're gonna collect from us. Finding out each job has different payment terms. You gotta know your contract. So understanding that, and then actually we'll prepare like a mock bill, just to kind of show you what AIA billing kind of looks like in our world. Okay.
So the 10 most common causes of contractors going out of business is they have poor cash flow, poor accounting system, poor estimating the projects and job costing. Buying too much equipment is never good. Obtaining new types of work that you're not really, you're obtaining it, but you're not really comfortable doing it. It's above your head. Hire too many employees that are turning over. It costs money to hire and fire people, so that's never good. Inadequate capitalization. Growing too fast. It seems like it's a great idea to obviously grow your business, which it is. But if you grow too fast, you can grow too big and then you get it over your head. And that's the quickest way to lose your business. Dramatic increase in a single job size. Obviously, if you go for $100,000 job and it turns into $1 million job, that can get south real quick. And obtaining work in a new geographic region. So you guys are all used to working here in Louisville, but things might be different in Cincinnati or Lexington. Like you just never know the different economic situations in the different cities. So cash flow, obviously, cash is king. You want to always make sure that you're maintaining your bills and getting your cash in. You can't stay in business without generating the positive cash flow, obviously. And the better that is, it's being generated, the less you're likely to have to borrow money, which we just heard from the bank, but.
They're not still here though, right?
Well, good thing they left. But,
Because I mean, you borrow money, they're paying an interest rate, but
Yeah.
they're gonna make some money, so I mean, it's.
yeah, so keeping your cash, being cash positive at the beginning is always important, so that maybe you potentially won't have to borrow, but sometimes you have to borrow.
Well, before we move on, this is important for our contractors to know that maintaining the positive cash flow may have some tax implications, and it's okay, because oftentimes our contractors like to work at a loss, our business at a loss to avoid taxes, but oftentimes that's not the best business strategy for your business as well. So sometimes you may have to make a little money, show you have a little cash, and pay a few taxes to allow your business to properly grow and be right for business opportunity as well as financial opportunity as well.
So cash flow problems, some of the reasons, not all, for flow payments, people in the field don't understand the importance of cash flow. So there could be, we have subs that are smaller, where the guy doing the work out on the project is actually doing his finances that evening. So they're not getting emails or checking up on that like a full-time person in the office would. So you gotta if that's the situation you are, you gotta kind of keep up with that. Billing deadlines are missed, same story where you don't have the people in the office to kind of keep track of that, and you miss a deadline. In our world, you know, we bill our owners once a month. If most of our contracts are 30 days after that, they can pay us. And then in Kentucky, we have 15 days to pay you. So if you miss that, just double those numbers up. So you're out another 30 days plus. So you got to watch those deadlines. Billings are prepared incorrectly. If you bill us something and it doesn't get approved, or you know, that can get rejected back and not billed correctly. Billings are mailed to the wrong address. That's kind of an old line. We use software now where if you have a smartphone, you can actually submit a billing to us from your phone, even if you're out doing that job right then and there. You don't have. So we have a software called Textura that kind of handles that billing now. So really no more mailing of your billing.
But if you're working with other people that you do. have to
Yeah,
know,
some,
right?
yeah. And then collections are not followed up on. Just because you build someone, you got to make sure they pay you, and they pay you within, you know, the terms of your contract. Every contract will be different. I haven't, you know, we have some owners that pay us within days. Some will pay us within the 30-day terms. And we have some contracts, it's 60 days that they don't pay us. So you bill us now, we're not getting paid for 60 days, which means we're paid when paid. So we don't pay you till we get paid. So you got to know your contracts and know when your collections are due. You got the next one.
Some good ways to get cash positive are having the historical data from all the work that you've done. Collecting that, having good records from your past projects, and you say, you know, when we bid this job, we got so far under in the first month because we had to mobilize, we had to get people out there, we had to get all the equipment out there, making sure that you're tracking that stuff on each of your jobs still will help you going forward on your next job, so that you can look back like, well, it's about the same size project, this is what it's gonna cost, and, you know, making sure you're bidding. I know some of you were here last time with Susan, she talked about, you know, getting every single thing in your bid, but making sure that you're getting like things like that ahead of time will help you stay cash positive.
And that historical could be, you know, you could have lost some money on that job. At least you know how much you kind of lost, and you can figure out, all right, I can't bid that low anymore on that size job or whatever. So that's kind of where that's coming from, right?
Yeah, and like we just said about time billing your job timely and knowing your contract. I mean, each, you know, we have different jobs with different owners, and they bill, you know, federal work general bills in the middle of the month because you can't forecast out in the previous month, but like a normal, you know, job with any private owner would be like normally billed towards the end of the month. So knowing your contract and like getting with your accountant when you first start a job like that is key to just know like what the billing schedule is, so you know what is expected of you, so that you don't miss those deadlines like we just talked about. Change order management, if you're asked to do stuff ahead of time or additional things, communicating with the team about the timeliness of that, when you can bill it, when it'll be approved, because they can be like, hey, go paint these other 3 rooms, and you don't have, you know, your change order stuff together, your tickets together, and then you're out a couple of days of work and you don't have the change order written up or anything. So making sure that you're managing all that extra work on your end, so that when they say, give me your tickets, give me all that stuff, you have it in order.
And I would recommend, you know, because sometimes people out just get amnesia and they forget that they told you to do that a week ago. So get it in writing, at least an email, and then a formal change order should follow where it's fully executed, and that's usually when you get billed, but I would at least get it in writing so you're not forgotten.
And then something key, I guess communication is key, I guess, on the projects, is knowing the chain of communication of who you should be communicating, what to is important.
Yeah, because like, I mean, especially with a company like Turner, like Ben has his 12 projects, I have my 12 projects. And then, you know, we're just the accounting team. Then you still have your project team and your, you know, your procurement team, like Susan, who you met last week or last time, knowing the key players when you're bidding. And then as well as once you awarded the contract, asking questions, who does the accounting, who's the project manager, what systems do you guys use? Making sure you're communicating that with everybody is key to a successful project for sure.
And I guess what she's also saying, communication method too, because I don't know, we have issues with us because we have so many ways of communicating through Mondays and Google and it seems like, and so it's managing what
Email,
type of
text.
system they use to communicate as well, and whether you are savvy on that system to work it as well. I'm still learning Mondays.
Snail mail. Yeah. Avoiding claims. You don't want any claims against you. We don't want any claims against us. So everybody communicating and having a good cash flow, you'll avoid any claims against you because we're paying you, you're paying your people, and then there'll be no claims up. Turner does offer a prompt pay break or an early pay program. A lot of GCs do it, bigger GCs, it's 1%. So it's basically, if you do the work in August, normally you would bill for it at the end of August. I bill for it at the end of August. I get paid at the end of September and I pay you at the beginning of October. It's like a normal 30-day payment term. With the early pay, we would pay you within, like you submit your bill the end of August, you would get paid around like September 1st, 2nd, 3rd. So as soon as our bill is approved with the owner, we would pay you immediately. It does cost a fee of 1%. So it's back to that cash flow thing of, is it something that's right for your company? And even working with like the bank, not that you have these, our loans are their loans, but them letting you know.
But our billing gets thing with ours.
Good.
Does it show up?
Oh,
With like the program we offer, it doesn't show up on your, as a loan, basically. So it is, there is a fee, 1% fee, but it doesn't show up as a loan on your like your financial statement. So, and with ours as well, you don't have to do it through the life of your contract. If you just wanted to do it your first billing to get a little cash in there, you can stop it and just get paid normally after that. But every GC usually offers something like that. Everyone's different. But I would definitely ask, when you get your contract, if that company does offer something like this, like wait.
But I'd like to also say, yes, you can stop it, but it's like going to check in the cash and check your cash your check early because you need the money. You're not going to be able to go 60 more days without getting paid again. Like you're going to probably keep paying that 1%. So making sure that that's the right idea for your business and that it works right financially for you, that you can take a hit of the 1% for the whole life. Because let's be honest, you're not going to do it. I don't think any company would ever be like, oh, I'll do it and I'll wait 60 days to get paid again. Because you're taking it early already. You see what I mean? So it's making sure you think all of that out logically that it's right for you is definitely, I think, something I like to tell people because you want it to be right for your business. Yeah.
Is that for like material or something like that? Or is like getting material?
So we like Turner, we do like stored material. You could build material that you have in your, is that what you mean? Kind of like you're
Yeah.
building that ahead, something you're sitting in your shop and then, but it's not gonna, it's gonna be 6 months before it's
No, I
all
just
in
mean
place.
material that you use for the project.
Yeah, if you can build that ahead sometimes. It has to be approved by, like for Turner, it would have to be approved and.
The project manager would look and make that determination, so you're not build too far ahead. We do like that. We'll show it to you later. There's line items, how we can show you how to somewhat get built ahead, which is like mobilization and engineering. So you can add lines to your bill where you can bill where you've not done a lot of work yet, but you're just getting started and you can get ahead a little bit that way. So you
Yeah,
gotta
just
be kind of
your
strategic
schedule
about how
out,
you.
it's like the way you do it, so you can get a little cash.
Yeah.
You get that first.
I'm being nosy, but you guys have a note here. I think it'll be good to share about determine whether the history of your owner for submitting slow payments. and how
Yeah.
You factor it into your bid.
Yeah. So I mean, we have a lot of repeat owners. We kind of know with most if they're going to pay on time, if they're going to be a little late. So you could ask
With the
that.
bag number, no.
So the job that I have right now, it's 60 days. They're always late. So they're going on 70, 75 days paying us. So that history there tells me that if a sub were to call me on that job and ask if they recommended this program, I would say yes, based on you're looking at 70+ days
After
getting
you put
paid
work in
for work
place.
that you've done, months and months ago. Yeah. That's, we don't have many 60-day contracts, but that is a job.
Yeah,
that
that's
we
pretty
have.
unheard of.
Yeah.
Most of mine are 30.
Yeah.
I would say 99%.
But we have a kind of a track record. We know a
Yeah.
lot of our owners and how they pay. If they're gonna be on time, some pay a little early, some pay just a little late. But
We have a lot of repeat things. For sure.
So key question to ask the project manager is the payment history of the owner
Yeah.
and how you factor it in into your bid price. Retainage reduction.
And speaking of that, with your bid price, the software that we use, and it's buried it's in our contract, but our contracts are pages and pages. So you got to read it all. That costs. There's a fee to use that we pass down to you, that you need to keep that in your bid price. The software that we use, Textura.
So when you're getting this contract from any GC, make sure you're reading that fine print of software, things required, so that you put, it's 0.22% in your contract is what Textura charges you. It's actually like the system we use charges you, not actually Turner. But it is a fee to use a system when we require the system. So all that, making sure you're putting all that kind of stuff in your bids and reading all those things is extremely important.
Yeah, a lot of when we get a newer sub, I hate to tell them, I'm like, it's on page 70 of 150, it's right there. So.
And I mean, it's a significant amount on some contracts, so.
Thank you. That's essential. That was good to share.
Yeah,
Just
because you say read it and you're like, you know what I mean? Like, even I get R in a contract, like 800 pages, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna die. So you get to page like 77, you don't feel like reading it anymore.
it's just not a fee that you think about paying, though.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Awesome. Next slide.
Yeah.
Change orders and claims.
Yeah, you can do the next one.
Job costing.
No,
Okay,
you
I
can go
I
back
went
to
too
page.
far.
Sorry, you can go right there. Yeah.
There you go.
You want to take this one? This is your favorite.
I love change orders.
Questions?
I didn't see change orders are good, claims are bad. Saw this earlier, but notification of the change orders is extremely important. Even if like you don't have all your stuff together, but like Ben said, getting an email from them, getting something in writing, because people will be like, hey, go do this, paint this wall, blah, 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 and then have amnesia 3 weeks later, like, I didn't tell you to add that on. So making sure you're getting things in writing, because everybody is busy out there, even like our superintendents, they're running, so many different trades, that making sure that you get everything in writing.
And just so you know, the change order flow process too is we direct you to do that in writing. We then got to go to the owner, get the money, get that in writing, get the money from him. Then we write you the change order. It's got to be fully executed by both parties, Turner and you guys, and then that's when you can bill it. There's, depending on, again, the owner and how fast they are, and the architect, getting change order signed, there could be a delay there. They're gonna get it, but it just depends on when. Sometimes. That's why having that email a month and a half, 2 months prior. It's good to have.
Next we'll touch on job costing, which we'll touch on like doing a structure of tracking your cost. But part of that is making sure you have like a numbering system for your change orders, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, D, E, and doing that along for all of your work that you're doing going forward, so that you can go back and get that historical data of tracking and knowing, and so that everything stays very organized and you know what you did. So maintaining the log of that is important. Have a rational numbering system. Making sure you keep signed change orders on your files. I mean, whether it's digital or.
Yeah, all our change orders come digitally, DocuSign, so you can just keep it somewhere, somewhere safe on your computer.
Yeah.
And then, and it's somewhere.
Making sure you're following up on your unsigned change orders. So sometimes, you send the tickets in and a couple weeks goes by, a month, 2 months goes by, making sure you're tracking all those down nonstop so that you don't lose track of them, we don't lose track of them, and you get paid for that work. We have on here, work should be performed until the change order has been signed. That is technically, you would want it signed, but like Ben's saying, like,
In the real world, when they need something done, the email is usually enough.
yeah. So like, because, you have to be asked to do the work, and then we ask the owner for the money, and then they approve it, and then we approve you. So sometimes it can take time, and, crunch time, punch list, whatever, at the end of projects, sometimes that's just not gonna happen that fast, and things need to be done faster. So that's why we kind of put that in yellow. But the key with why we put that in yellow also is because you're not gonna be able to bill it until it's fully signed. So if you want to wait to have a fully signed one to do anything, I mean, obviously that's gonna be in your best interest, because that's when you can bill it. Like Turner's systems physically will not let you bill anything until it's fully executed. So smaller GCs, you might not have as much of a lag time to, like, depending on the size of the project, depending on the size of the GC, it all just kind of depends. But as you start doing work with bigger GCs and stuff, you would notice that, like, which ones are the way, different ways. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
This is job costing. Ben, your favorite thing?
The job numbering must be consistent and rational. There must be a logic to it. With Turner, our jobs each year start with the year we're in. So all our jobs are 2-2. Those are the year we're in 2022, and then 3 numbers after that. So you can do it any way you want it. That's how we do it, but keep it consistent and make it something that you would understand. So you can go back again and look at your history. If you're bidding a job that did something similar 3 years ago, you can kind of get a general idea of either you made some money, you didn't make money, or where you need to be, and where you can get to that information in fairly quickly time. Establishing activity or category codes to track job costs is important. Preparing accurate reports. We have categories, for demo, for painting, for fire protection, HVAC. We kind of in our ledgers keep all that separate, so we can quickly look at those each line and figure out where we are currently with the cost, where we're projected to be. We have a problem. So keeping.
And like for you guys, it would like even like breaking your general costs down, your tools and supplies, what your cell phone costs might be, even like things like that, that like are additional costs to run your business. Keeping, like, we charge all that to each job that we hit. Well, when we what charge?
It all.
I have no idea.
That's
way above my.
that's the job of an estimator.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's
We're the last thing. We're the last to see everything. After the contract's already signed with you, you've already bid and won it, and everything. That's when you start talking to us.
Yeah.
But there's probably too many variables. I mean, it just depends on size, what material it is. Is there asbestos in there? Is it clean? So there's probably too many of that.
you that was something like you would have to get an actual estimator on construction projects to do that too, because they would have to look at other aspect, whether it's a brownfield or not, just to get basically the estimate of what the cost would be. That's kind of a science. You have just certain just companies who are out here who just do that. They're just estimating and costing companies. That's all they do.
Yeah, but even like tracking all of your, how much it costs to paint supplies and rollers and brushes, like in painting, tracking all that, cleaning, all your cleaning supplies and what kind of project it is. Keeping track of that, as job costs and the different items will historically help you for the next job that you say, we did this $20,000 job with this, and you can even extrapolate it, for 100,000, so that you're bidding correctly and being successful in making money on jobs. Ultimately, we want to make money, and we want you to make money on any job. So,
and keeping that historical bid data could also just be very efficient for you as a business to quickly respond to bids, because oftentimes you just have to maybe just do a little rewording rather than have to write it completely over again.
and know what the billing month, like this is what we incurred this month. You know, we run job cost ledgers, that's how we bill our owners. This is how much time we incurred, this is how much we spent on tools and supplies. This is what we're billing, this is what demo costs, paint costs, this stuff. It's literally, our job is pulling all that together.
A lot of times it's like a bell curve. You kind of start maybe a little slow, and you ramp up really high for a few months, and then you come back down. And knowing that, I mean, we'll always have to keep cash flow positive.
And payroll.
Payroll, yeah.
Like payroll is the big, you know, I mean, everybody knows that's what costs the most right now. Is work is not cheap.
Labor, yeah.
Labor is not cheap, and knowing how it's gonna go each project in the bell curve of when you're gonna need all the people to know when to bill and know what to bill, so that you say, once again, cash is king, cash is positive.
Research software to fit your business needs. If you can get access through like a free CPA, like that we offered, or a discounted CPA, that's huge right there.
But even using like a QuickBooks, I mean, and that's cheap, or even sometimes free, I think you'll find, but and then you can buy that software at Sam's Club for like $50 or something.
And we offer QuickBooks setup service. if
There you go, see, QuickBooks, but like using something like that. will
Yeah,
help
access
you
to those two things, I think.
Successful.
Would be
It
awesome,
sounds like you guys got it going on.
We
To help
try,
everybody.
we try.
But we've had, you know, years ago, we've had smaller contractors come in with their financials were handwritten. Hey, you know, it wasn't, so it's
Like
got
a
to be.
manila envelope, like, can you help me with my taxes? And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
So,
So, yeah, it's happened before.
We're still dealing with that.
We've seen it all. So we can go to the next slide.
Mhm.
Material costs, this is all part of the job cost, like we just kind of said. Material, direct materials, the majority of materials used by contractors right now, materials crazy. The price of everything is up, just like our groceries.
the
So-
lead times too, I mean, you might have to order certain
Yeah.
things.
Yes, we.
And you need to find, figure that out with the suppliers.
Yeah,
I mean, we're noticing,
yeah.
have trouble, staying with our schedules because of the issue with changes.
And that's essential when you're bidding for a contract as well, because on one of the projects we had to, when you're dealing with a contractor, that they needed a forklift, but they so backed up that they had to order it 6 months ahead of the time they had to even use it. And you had to estimate that cost of just holding it until you actually have to use it as well. So that's when you have to look into consideration equipment that you may use and how timely that equipment may be to get back with you for the job.
And then get to know your suppliers. Some you can negotiate with, or you can pay them as your invoice, they'll give you a discounted price. And that's where maybe our early pay would come into effect, because you're going to get your payment within a week. If you bill us, you can pay that supplier within that. When you get invoiced, and they might give you a discounted price because you're paying faster than their terms.
Yeah, sometimes it's like 10%.
Yeah.
Can be pretty significant on certain things.
And then sales tax rules. Kentucky's a little bit different. In Ohio, they've got some crazy ones with some sales tax. Usually Kentucky, I think, is what owner direct sales is usually. The
Tax
owner,
exempt, yeah.
the owner will buy the major material, the bigger stuff,
So
the
they
equipment,
pay on
HVAC
tax.
equipment, and they don't pay tax. Ohio, if you ever did work in Ohio, we would pass that down to you. We would give you a certificate, and then you would give that to your material supplier, and you would not pay tax on it. So it's kind of your obligation to do that. So every state's different. Every county in Ohio is different. So you just got to know your sales tax rules, and if the job is tax exempt, what those rules are. Not every job is tax exempt, but again, that's
Yeah,
what the contract will tell you.
Yeah, Kentucky, I'm not. That's one with the tax.
And whether you buying it from in and out of state.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why the CPA is. Because I know, even doing project accounting for
We have a tax.
11 years, it's like I still learn something new every day about taxes that I didn't know.
Well, we have a corporate tax person that just knows the rules that we will refer to, because it's just, and not, every company doesn't have that, so it's some of these tax rules are crazy, and the IRS, when they audit you, we've been audited a few times, They'll get it, they'll find it.
And most accounting firms will have just a section of just for sales tax.
Yeah,
And the thing about it, we get audited by like Turner, we got audited by like the IRS. And they found some glitch in the way we did corporate with the tax. And they extrapolated that against every single project that Turner did in the state of Ohio, which you can imagine was like a $4 million tax bill. So obviously that's at a grand scheme of things, but our boss got it down, he almost died at work. He could have made her heart attack. But knowing those tax rules as key to being successful and not getting hit with what the heck happens, kind of like we did.
yeah, I mean, a lot of where I see it come from is if you order material for something done in Kentucky, say you have to order it out of Texas, they won't put tax on that invoice because they don't really pay Kentucky taxes because they're just set up in Texas. You have to self-report that. If you don't, that's where they get you. So
And
you just pay the invoice and you're thinking, all right, I'm good, I paid it. State or the IRS will come and say, well, where's the tax? And then that's what it.
And since we're talking about taxes and positive cash flow, one of the things is our small business may need to look into is doing estimated tax filings rather than waiting for the end of the year. Tax filings, quarterly tax filings.
And basically paying your tax every quarter.
Yeah.
So
But you don't get a big one at the end.
Next slide.
So we talked about this too, labor. We've been doing this for years and it seems like the labor right now, just paying people is crazy. So you got to keep that in mind. If you're going to have labor on, when you're going to bid, it's how many, I get a good guess on how many hours, and that's where your historical data will come into effect. It took us X amount of hours to do a job this size. The hourly rate might be different, but at least you know how many hours it is. So your cost overruns, are due to bad estimates, inefficiencies, or mismanagement of labor costs. You thought it was going to take you 100 hours, and you're not even halfway done, and you're at 300 hours. You got a problem. Certain jobs have the Davis-Bacon or prevailing wage laws.
Davis-Bacon is the federal, so I mean, I like the BA, for example, for the federal job in Cincinnati, for the FDA. Those are Davis-Bacon wages. You have to make sure that that's another thing that would be listed in the contract and that you're aware of that. Davis-Bacon is locked at the beginning of the job. So the day we signed the contract with the VA or the FDA, they were locked in the rates. And so you have to pay your people whatever that rate is for the entire length of the project. A lot of times it's sometimes less, sometimes more. So just paying attention to that because that all has to go into like a federal reporting system. And
We report it every month, right?
it has to be submitted to like the government.
And it's
So,
the federal government, at least the federal jobs, it's a big deal if something is fabricated and not done right. It's not good.
but even city jobs do require prevailing wage sometimes. Like Kentucky has prevailing wage, don't they?
I don't think,
Yeah, I know. Okay, yeah. So knowing the difference, because like Ohio prevailing wage, and I believe Kentucky, those can fluctuate week to week or month to month or however they want. It's kind of the beauty of the Davis-Bacon ones because they're locked at the beginning and you know this is a number and you're always, that's the number for the whole length of the project. But with the regular prevailing wage, it can go up and just making sure you're staying up on those rates. It's key so that you stay out of trouble, honestly.
and then that last line, the labor burden is usually 30 or 40%. That was a couple years ago. That might be, it's probably.
Depending on also what you're doing, but I mean, when you're cleaning up
In
way
essential,
more than that.
I guess here, in essential to our smaller contractors, as we grow, well, I guess labor burden will be workers' comp. Because many, for many of your small businesses in Kentucky, you can have an exemption, but as you grow and add more employees, that's an additional expense and cost that you have to apply in as well, factor in.
So if you get to a size where you can start using subcontractors, Turner pre-qualifies our subs, you probably want to do some kind of pre-qualification with anyone that's working underneath you. You get to that point. The subcontractor agreement should contain all permanent, all information. So it would probably be whatever we pass down to you, you're gonna want to pass down to that sub to capture that. And then you're gonna want to get everything, you're gonna want to get an official you want to get something signed, a contract signed between you and your sub, so there's no miscommunication or not understanding of what's expected of each other. And then just accounting for subcontractor costs. So when you're doing your bill to Turner, you need to probably have that bill from your sub prior to that, so you know what they're billing you, so they can bill us, for example. So making sure you get them on a billing schedule, probably a little bit earlier than what you would want to turn into us. And then with us at least, there's a lot of paperwork with Turner. So making sure all paperwork is submitted. A lot of times it's insurance paperwork. Where, when you first sign your contract, you give us insurance, and then a year later it's expired. Our system actually won't let us pay you until we get an updated insurance document. So a lot of times it's our purchasing department chasing down paperwork, and that can delay your payment if your insurance on file is expired. But there is a lot of paperwork with us.
And if I may add, this information is also going to be helpful for our smaller contractors to seeking to do work with industries like Turner, is that we, rather than subcontractor agreements, we're really looking into joint venture options to be, have the capacity to learn on these projects. And so this is important. We are working with Frost Brown Todd law firm here on kind of working on establishing those joint venture agreements for our contractors to begin to come together and be together on some of these contracts, which make it a better opportunity to land the contract together than one.
And then that's literally what we're doing at the VA, it's partnering up with the joint venture with Walsh. So we are Walsh Turner on that project, not just Turner. So and that's the same thing, it's just such a huge magnitude job that partnering up where we're awarded it easier. They have more faith that, if you split it between two companies and manage it, and something like that magnitude. So like even you guys' sides, you're coming up to us, the same thing. We used to the FC Stadium in Cincinnati, and our electric was joint venture because it was such a big job. I can't remember what exactly, $20 million or something. But it was two electrician companies came together to joint venture on that project so that they could bid it, get awarded it, and then complete it successfully. And it worked out great.
Anybody get money, right?
Yeah.
Representative efforts, so it's very important for your business to maybe look out and assess your peer companies on who you can possibly develop a relationship with, a joint venture relationship with that business to help you both grow.
Same thing we talked about earlier, including all those indirect costs, like in the job cost ledgers, about the small tools, labor, project management, how much cost you estimate, even putting all the labor hours for those things that you did prior to even being awarded the job is important, and tracking how much it costs you to, estimate the job and go back and forth with the GC and, those kind of hours. I mean, time is money. So even your time estimating the job and putting it together, and then whoever's managing it, make sure that their time in there. Office rental and utilities, that's key. If you have an office, you want to make sure, Turner's definitely putting their overhead costs, pushing it down to the owners, you know what I mean? So making sure that if you have costs of just running your business, that you're putting all that into your stuff. Making sure that you're doing it consistently and reasonable. There's a fine line where you're gonna put too much stuff in it, and you're not gonna get the job because your overhead cost is too high, which we run into those GCs because we're expensive. But yeah, there's a fine line between putting enough in there that you're not losing money, but not putting too much in there to where you're not getting awarded the project. So being reasonable and consistent with that is important. And tracking all those costs, like we said, in the job costs is key to knowing what it actually costs to run your whole business.
So paper, as you say, paper flow, for all jobs, costs to be accurate, the flow of information must be timely, which we probably, we said like 10 times, that's a very important thing. Just knowing your history, basically. All invoices from vendors, suppliers, subcontractors must be accounted for, kept in a somewhat kind of order that you could get to, that you understand, some kind of filing order. We, about 5 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, went all digital. We used to keep everything in a file cabinet under a job folder. Each sub had their own folder. Now it's all digital. You just click, you go to the job, you go into each folder. And so even if you just want to do it digital, that's fine, but keep it somewhere where you can get to it. And then all invoices should be coded accordingly to activity. So, you know, if you're buying paint or special paint, you want to keep that in a special code because it might be more expensive than just your regular paint or whatever. And just keep accurate data. It's kind of is what the main point of this slide is.
Any questions about the job costing portion?
That was really good, because some of that stuff I didn't even know to get at. That was really good.
Yeah.
What about like your bids?
Yeah.
Yeah, being aware of how much it costs, yeah.
So we've kind of talked about this. Each state has lien laws and prompt pay. So Ohio is different from Kentucky. Kentucky's different from Indiana. I don't know how far that's go, but we just did Kentucky here. So once a GC gets paid by the owner, they have 15 days to pay their subs.
And it says business days.
Yeah.
So like Ohio has 10 days and actual calendar days, but Kentucky's crazy, 15 business days, which is literally almost an entire another month.
Yeah.
You can hold your money. We don't, you know what I mean? Because, you know, we have a lot of work at UK and they have 45-day payment terms. So by the time they pay me, I usually just shoot everybody's money out in the next couple of days. But by law, we could hold it for 3 more weeks, which would go 60 days without getting paid for work we put in place. So making sure you know, are aware of that, and
If
that's a long
if you
time.
run into a GC that's not paying you, but they've been paid,
And they can say, well, the law says 15 business days.
it's kind of a hint something might be wrong, something might be going on with them. But knowing when you should be getting paid, you can always call the GC, or, you know, we get a lot of calls with, you know, have you been paid yet? Have you been paid yet? If you find out they've been paid and it's been over the 3 weeks, because, you know, then there might be an issue going on. You need to contact, you know, someone for help, because you can get, I've never seen it, but apparently there's interest you can get, right?
12%.
And that's where you can start making some phone calls and say, hey, what's going on? So that's the Kentucky prompt pay. But every state, like I said, is different. So if you're working over in Indiana, you can get this, you can just Google this and just say construction prompt pay law. It has every state listed and every, you know, across the board what they are. So if you're in that state, it's probably good to know that. To get money, to get cash flow.
It's also simple laws on this slide, knowing your lien laws, knowing your lien rights. Always, before you leave the job, call your GC and just talk to them about what's going on. And, you know, even if you're a sub to a sub, a third tier, you know, Turner's here and somebody's here and you're down here, and this person isn't paying you, call your GC, let them know what's going on, keep them in the loop, because we would much rather know about what's going on and get you guys paid. I mean, once generally I call one of our subs and say, so-and-so called, they said you haven't paid them, what's the deal? They either have a story or immediately they get paid. So nobody wants, we don't want any jobs, nobody wants a lien on the job, so.
Or it could be that sub to us is going under, we don't know it yet, but as soon as we start hearing that, we can start helping everyone get paid. But if we find out at the end and we've already paid that middle tier, and they haven't paid theirs, it's tougher for us to get that.
Yeah, so keeping your GC in the loop is always key. It's not getting paid. Throw the red flag up, you know, if it's normally it's come in every 25, 30 days after you bill, and it's been 45 days. Call your GC and let them know what's going on, just so that I mean, for us, it's like key, so that we know, because we want to be annoyed, because we call them immediately and say, you're not getting paid until you pay your people, so.
Yeah, because we'll hold our subs payment.
and
Catches
then
everyone up.
Your tier, so just making sure you're paying attention to when you're not getting paid and things like that, and keeping everybody in it. Because nobody wants to leave, and it ends up costing you and us more money because everybody has to get lawyers and
Mhm.
it becomes a whole mess, so. If you're with a good GC, like, no, just kidding. We'll fight for you. So, there you go. This is kind of basically the exact same thing. 15 days of receiving, you need to give waivers with our texture system that we have to use.